Good evening. It's now 6 p.m. and the special meeting on September 9th of the Dublin San Ramon Services Board of Directors is called to order. Please join me in the pledge to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Director Von Heater Leopold.
Here.
Director Govinda Rao.
Here.
Vice President Halkett.
Here.
President Goel.
Present. Thank you. Moving on to item 4, special announcements and activities. Item 4A, a presentation of Transparency Certificate of Excellence and the District of Distinction Accreditation by Special District Leadership Foundation.
President Goel and members of the board, Nicole Genzali, District Secretary. I'd like to introduce to you this evening Colleen Haley. She is the Public Affairs Field Coordinator for the California Special Districts Association Bay Area Network, and she's here to present these awards this evening.
Thank you for a wonderful introduction, Nicole. Also, thank you for all the work and information you gave me to make sure I had the right information to be here today. So as you know, you're receiving 2 certificates here today. You probably have already seen them because they came ahead of me today. But the first is the District Transparency Certificate of Excellence. This is the first certificate we offered to districts when we formed the foundation, and you received it every single year it was offered. So you've been transparent since you could possibly be transparent. So that sounds great for your constituents. So this is your renewal. This is now your 4th renewal. I have formal talking points. They're a little lengthy. Do you want me to paraphrase or should I just go through? I usually just read them out, but you've got 2 sets. It's up to you.
We'll let you do as you wish. Paraphrase is okay.
Thank you. I thought I'd give you the option this time. I usually don't give folks the option. But this is your 4th time hearing it. So here we go. The Special District Leadership Foundation is a 501c3 not-for-profit foundation arm of CSDA, dedicated to promoting excellence in special districts, recognition programs that highlight and focus on implementation and best practices. There are 4. The first is the Special District Excellence and Transparency Certificate you're earning here tonight. Then you can go on and earn the recognition of Special District Governance, which you've also earned, and we're recognizing you here tonight for. Then there are 2 for individuals, 1 for board members, Special District Governance Certificates, and Special District Administrator Certificates for high-level staffers. About the District Transparency Certificate of Excellence, though. This program was created in 2013 as an effort to promote transparency in the operations and governance of special districts and to promote and provide special districts with an opportunity to showcase their efforts in transparency. So 3 basic transparency requirements are ethics training certificates for all board members and filing with the State Controller's Office the district's financial transactions and compensation report. The website requirements, which, they've gotten a lot lengthier over the years, but it requires, among other things, current audit and budget information, board directors, roster with terms of office, and information on the board members' names and terms. Outreach requirements. The district has to select 2 of these. Your district selected 2 of these over the past 3 years. Which includes a regular district newsletter, informational public budget hearing, and or a community transparency review. Therefore, why is transparency important? Because the public has a right to open government and to be able to access it. Special districts, regardless of type or size, are public agencies that use public funds and provide public services. The district business is the public's business. Transparency means a district that is open and accessible to the public, engages them, easy access also to district information through mediums like a website provides an opportunity for constituents to better understand their district, and because transparency allows for accountability. Presentation of their certificate here today means your district has completed a comprehensive transparency checklist that includes general website and outreach best practices. District has demonstrated a tangible acknowledgement of the district's transparency efforts, and the district has shown its commitment to be open and accessible to the public. Finally, the district has displayed a commitment to engaging the public and creating greater awareness about the district's business. On behalf of the board and staff of CSDA and SDLF, I pronounce the Transparency Certificate of Excellence renewal to the Dublin San Ramon Services District in recognition of your transparency efforts and governments. Second is the District Transparency District of Distinction. As you know, this program allows districts to go beyond just the transparency requirements and demonstrate to their communities, the media, legislators, and stakeholders their commitment to operate in a sound, responsible manner, one that truly stands out as a district that has gone above and beyond. So this one, as you can tell, is a lot greater deal and requires not just staff support. Your staff does provide a lot of support, but also board member engagement, and you have to participate in the earning of this award as well. So it really is a team effort. And specific requirements include clean financial audits for a minimum of 3 consecutive years, proof that the district has engaged in policy procedures and has them in place. All directors and staff have completed comprehensive training in governance and all the laws pertaining to the district as public agencies. But Dublin San Ramon District Services District did even more because you have demonstrated this amongst only a few other agencies out there. And I have the number. There's only 39 other agencies in California that have gone on to earn this certificate. So it is quite an achievement. Why is this important? Because it demonstrates the district's understanding and respect of the responsibilities inherent in providing essential public services, shows that the district has clean audits and operates in a fiscally responsible manner, and transparent as well, places an emphasis on continuing education within the district for staff and board members, focuses on having sound policies in the areas of governance, board conduct, district finances, transparency, and reserves. Therefore, on behalf of CSDA and the Special District Leadership Foundation, it is my pleasure to present the Dublin San Ramon Services District with the District of Distinction Accreditation, recognition of your commitment to good governance and to ethical and sound ongoing practices. Congratulations. Thank you for listening through our talking points. And here are your 2 certificates side by side. We do love to post a picture of the board members on our Facebook page, and so we can get however you're used to doing it.
We stand here.
That sounds great.
You stand on the middle.
Oh, I can stand in the middle.
I stand on the left over here.
Oh, I was going to hand it to the board president.
Well, I'd like to get some extra.
Wait, might I do myself?
Yeah.
Did I not?
Yes, just all things are. We're not doing the picture. Well, our friend should be in the middle.
Or you can email it to me either way.
Come on in. Right next to our board president.
This one.
Yeah. Profile on portrait. Good?
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Of course. So these are good for 3 years, so
Yay.
I'll see you back here in 3 years.
More training. More training.
If you need press materials, we have all that. Publicize this.
Same freaking training here after here. I need new training. I go to the training business.
Just as an aside, it should be noted that the packet that goes in for these awards is, and
Quite
Nicole
extensive.
did it. So thank you very much for gathering all of our paperwork and sending it off.
Yes, thank you to the entire staff and the board for really actually making this all happen. So, and of course, the leadership of our general manager. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to item 5, public comment. At this time, those in the audience are encouraged to address the board on any items of interest that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board and not already included on tonight's agendas. Comments should not exceed 5 minutes. Are there any speaker cards from the members of the public?
No speaker cards.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to item 6, agenda management.
No recommended changes.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll move on to item 7, consent calendars. Matters listed under this item are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless requested by a member of the board or the public prior to the time the board votes on the motion to adopt. Is there a motion to approve the items under the consent calendar?
I'll move.
I'll second.
I got a motion by Director Govinda Rao and a second by Director Von Heater Leopold. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstention? The motion carries unanimous. With that, we'll move on to item 8, board business. Item 8A, discuss options for filling a board of directors vacancy. Staff.
President Goel, members of the board, as of September 1st, 2025, a vacancy exists for the Division II seat on the board of directors due to the resignation of Director Johnson effective August 31st. Pursuant to Government Code 1780, there are certain notifications and actions that must take place related to this vacancy. The board has 60 days to decide how to fill the vacancy. As outlined in the staff report, the board has 3 options for filling the seat. Number 1, call for an election to fill the vacancy, which would be a special election on April 14th or May 5th, 2026. Option 2, proceed with an application and interview process and make an appointment based on the results of that formal process. Or number 3, proceed with the direct appointment of a qualified citizen within the with a domicile in Division 2. Whether appointed or elected, the person would serve the remainder of Director Johnson's term, about 16 months, which expires in December 2026 following the November 2026 general election. If no action is taken by the board prior to the October 31st deadline, the Contra Costa County Board of Supervisors has the authority to appoint an individual to the vacant seat or direct the board to call an election. This evening, staff recommends the Board of Directors accept, by motion, the declaration of a board vacancy for Division 2 and direct staff to proceed with the board's selected option to fill the vacancy for the remainder of the Division 2 term. And staff and legal counsel are available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jan. Appreciate that very thorough analysis of our options. So I think at this time what we'll do is we'll bring it to the board for a discussion as far as which option are they leaning to and or ask any questions. So with that, I'm going to start to my right. Director Von Heater Leopold, if you have any thoughts that you'd like to share.
I favor appointing someone, either someone we choose or someone who has applied for it, because the cost of a special election is really prohibitive for just that section. And it's interesting, I guess, because the division is in Contra Costa County. That's why it would go to the Contra Costa County Board of Supervisors.
Correct.
Okay. Anyway, I just think the cost of the election is, we don't need to spend that kind of money for a special election for what? It would be 6 months, wouldn't even be 6 months because we can't have the election till April or June.
And so you're in the mindset of an appointment. Did you have a preference of one type of appointment or another, or are you just an appointment?
If anyone knows of someone that is capable of taking the position, I'd like to hear. If not, then we'll have to go out for applicants.
Okay, very good. With that, let me go to my left side, Director Govinda Rao.
Great, thank you. Just I'd actually question about and I agree with with your comments about the election and the cost. I just had a clarifying question. So, given what's going on with the special district, you know, the districting election that's going on in California nation. I mean statewide. That's coming up, I think, in November. Correct? Does that change anything where we could still be on the ballot for this November, where we could tag team with that, or we can't?
The Division Two seat will be up naturally in November, so the election that would be called for would actually be in March, I believe, is the next scheduled election for the county.
But the division seat is up currently, right?
It will be up in 2026.
No, I understand that, but I guess what I'm wondering is if we have to put it to a special election in March of 2026, because it would technically be it expires in
You're
December.
thinking it could go on the ballot for no, because the way the statute is provided, it is the next the next regularly scheduled election, which is in March of 2026.
Okay.
So not this.
So we
not
couldn't
this
tag team
November.
it with a
We would not
special
be able
election.
to fit it into the November ballot, because that's going to be a special election designed around that redistricting bill.
Great. Okay. No, thank you for.
And I would just add that the statute also requires that it be 130 days away from when the election is called,
Got it. Okay.
minimum.
So that's okay. Thank you for clarifying that as well. Just kind of looking at the different options. Yeah, I mean, I think the election, going through an election process would be at the bottom of my list, or bottom of my choices. If I had to rank them, I would prefer to, given by the time we would probably appoint someone. I think the document said 16 months, but I think it'd really be more like 14 months that they'd be serving, because by the time they take the position, and then it would expire in December of 2026. If there's, let's say, a past board member that's available, I would look at potentially appointing them, hopefully with the idea that they wouldn't run again, and then we could have the normal election process occur. So that would be my first choice, is to go that route. And then second would be to go the, accept applicants and go through the interview process. And the last one would be, for me, is the election, going to election cycle.
So just to reiterate, that you're saying in reverse order: option 3, then 2, then 1.
That is correct.
Okay, very good. We'll move on to Director Halkett.
Okay, yeah. I've been through a few of these, and of the things that we do on this board, these are the least favorite of anything we do, even rate adjustments. Because I think from a democracy standpoint, picking our own peers really makes me, gives me the heebie-jeebies. I mean, because realistically, these are down ballot races. If you pick a peer, they're likely going to be there forever, because these are, seats that tend to persist. I may have overstepped my bounds, but I did take it upon myself to make a couple of calls to ex-director Duarte, who happens to live in Division 2. He still has his house in San Ramon. He still spends most of his time in San Ramon. He was a little reluctant at first, just because, he's frankly a little older, and his wife has some health issues. But he's decided that he can help us out if we want to go that way. I totally trust Ed. I've served on the board with Ed for 8 years probably. Matter of fact, he'd probably still be on this board, except for the fact that we're forced into redistricting. We couldn't come up with a map that would get him and Anne Marie onto the that didn't make any sense. He's willing to serve, given his age. I would never ask somebody to make a firm commitment that they won't run again, because that's not legal. But given his age and where he is in his life, I'm pretty confident that he would serve out this term in good faith. The other thing I'm thinking about is, typically when this happens, if the calendar works, I just prefer to leave the seat open and just go to the next election. calendar doesn't work this time. I don't know Contra Costa County Board of Supervisors. I don't really want them messing around with their seats. Messing is probably not the right word, but you know what I mean. I don't want any county supervisors involved in our seats, but one I don't know for very well. So that'd be my proposal. The other thing that's in my mind is, even though, we can operate with four board members, we've done it before for well over 6 months once when Director Scannell retired, is we do have two substantive things coming up the next year. We're in the midst of labor negotiations with all of our units, and we have at least one rate study next year. Former Director Duarte has been through both those processes before. So I'm pretty sure he'd bring a very clear-headed and rational approach to it, not have to be taught. I'd be very nervous bringing on a brand new board member from outside, somebody with maybe no government experience, trying to go through those two processes. They're pretty intense. So that's my proposal. I'm not sure how we actually formalize this, but that's my thoughts.
Okay. In light of that,
Can I go after you?
you can go right now.
Dr. Halkett actually just jogged my memory on something else I wanted to share as well, is that, I think it is important, given the short time frame, and yes, we can't mandate anyone not running again, and I agree with that. But someone who maybe, given that, I'm fairly new on the board, and probably having another person that's, let's say, brand new on the board, I'm not sure if that's the best interest for the board. So finding someone who comes with a good knowledge and experience, that is maybe served on the board or has had a lot of governance experience would be beneficial, at least with the short time that we have here. And then it would go through the election process. So I do agree with, and I thank you for sharing that, because I wanted to mention that as well. And I echo your sentiments on that.
Okay, before I make my statement, go ahead. Not sure what my statement's value is going to be at this point, but go ahead.
I'll just say I'm very glad that Mr. Halkett reached out to Ed, because he fills the vacancy quite well, being a former board member, having been through the things that are coming up. And I agree, he probably wouldn't want to run. He is older than me. Yay! No. And he's an excellent choice. I mean, he's a business owner, was, and he's retired now, but it's perfect, because he had to choose not to run because of the way we divvied up the districts, and it was really hard to see him go because he was an excellent board member.
Right, for what it's worth, I'll go ahead and tell you guys my preference choice, and it was going to be this way anyway. And I was going to ask if anybody did reach out to prior board member Duarte, because I held him in high regards coming into this seat. And so, and including Pat Howard, who was a prior board member. And so I definitely do, I think, agree with the approach. And it looks like if we were to go through this process, we could have somebody on maybe as soon as October 21st, based on what I'm seeing from a timescale perspective in the staff memo. And I think what's even more important is there's a lot of key actions that we're going to be taking over the next several months that we would not want to have or entertain distractions, so to say. And so I think I tend to lean where maybe I'm sensing the majority going. Before we do take any entertainment of motion, I am going to just, for policy perspective, I was remiss in making sure that we do open up for public comment. I'm going to just check. Do we have any speaker cards from the public?
No speaker cards.
Okay, with that, I'll bring it back to the board. And what we've been asked to do, if I'm hearing it correctly, I'll kind of go ahead and state what I believe is going to be a motion for one of you guys to pick up. based on the recommendation from staff and then understanding where I'm hearing the board majority leaning towards. Again, this is a lean. So if it doesn't get a motion and it doesn't get a second for sake of that, it will die on the floor. And then we would entertain a formal motion of that which we believe can obtain a second. So that said, we're looking to have a motion that would declare a board vacancy for Division 2 created by the resignation of Director Anne Marie Johnson, and then direct staff to proceed with option 3, which is to proceed with the direct appointment of a qualified citizen for the district. There is a process in here that's been identified, and that would allow the board, or actually staff, to take the necessary next steps as outlined in our staff memos. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, I got a motion by Director Govinda Rao and a second by Director Von Heater Leopold. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstention? The motion carries unanimous, and I'm going to check with staff if I have done this portion correctly. Very good. With that, we will move on to item 8B, which is approve a revised board committee and joint power authority assignments for the calendar year 2025. I'm going to move that to staff.
This is a separate but related item. The board typically discusses board committee and JPA assignments in December. With Director Johnson's departure, certain assignments are currently vacant. Staff has worked with President Goel on recommendations to shuffle JPA and committee assignments in the interim to ensure adequate representation through December. The recommendations are listed in the staff report and include for DERWA, assigning Vice President Halkett, who is currently the alternate for DERWA, as a primary member, and listing both directors, Govinda Rao and the Division 2 appointee, as alternates. For the Tri-Valley Liaison meeting, we would assign Director Von Heater Leopold as the alternate. And for the San Ramon Central Sand Committee, we would assign the Division 2 appointee as the primary member, but there are no meetings currently planned for the remainder of 2025, so the board would have an opportunity to revisit that in December. Staff recommends that the board president review these recommendations with the board and approve revised board committee and JP assignments for the remainder of the year.
Thank you. So yes, I did work with staff. I'm also, as you guys know, always looking to make sure that we're ensuring appropriate succession planning, as I did when I came in to fill this role. Unfortunately, it did play out where we did end up with a board vacancy, and I think an appropriate succession plan was being established through the way we've broadened and evened out our assignments. One of the things that I would signal here as well is the next board assignment to the committees are going to be redone again around December, January timeline, after which division board member would be already in seat for about a month and a half. So I think this is really a short in duration, so to say, for about a 3.5 month stint, out of which there's very minimal committee meetings. I know there is a Tri-Valley Zone, Tri-City?
Tri-Valley Liaison.
That started off
Yeah.
right. Tri-Valley Zone 7 meeting coming up here in
October 20th.
October 20th. So that's the only one that I believe would be like kind of really directly impacted, but it was impacted by what was a position of an alternate, right? And then in DERWA is the other reassignment. And I think really it's moving Director Halkett from an alternate into a actual member for DERWA. And I think he's had the necessary tenure, and I believe if you're willing, that would be a very good next step for you in my eyes.
Yep.
And so that's kind of sort of the only real change. And I'm seeking to see if I got board support for this recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, ironically, the Dura appointment, and it makes sense. I was the alternate, but it is during water reuse. So I think the alternate,
Yep.
the new alternate, will probably end up having to take it over that one meeting, and then given director hopefully soon to be Director Duarte's tenure, come December when we reorganize this thing, we can make it so it's equitable for the year. So I support this. So which option do you want us to support?
I think it's going to be table 2 in the staff memo.
There's 3 options though. Approved board president proposed.
It's actually this. It should be the summary of whatever is reflected on table 2 is the one I'm seeking support for.
Yeah, which is option 1. So I'll move approval of option 1.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a
I'll second it.
Okay, so I got a motion by Director Halkett and a second by Director Govinda Rao. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? Any abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. Again, I'll check with staff. Did I do everything correctly? Very good. With that, we'll move on to item 9, reports, board items, 9A1. Joint Powers Authority and committee reports. I do believe there was a LAVMA board meeting. Director Govinda Rao, would you like to cover that? That sounded like hesitation.
Sorry, I just got back from vacation, and if you could cover that,
All right.
President Goyle, that would appreciate that. I do have notes. Give me a few minutes. I probably could find it.
Feel free. Take your time. So I'll start off in the meantime while you're looking up your notes. It was pretty much a normal meeting in nature, a little financial reporting update for the fiscal year, then a quarterly report from operations. It reviewed various legal and legislative issues that were on the docket, along with the general manager's report. Beyond that, there was just a closed session, which was normal in nature, and then a renewal of the contract for the general manager. So pretty normal business, nothing too out of the norm, but certainly Director Govinda Rao, if you'd like to compliment or add on into anything.
No, I think you covered it all. It was definitely it was probably one of the shortest LAVMA meetings that we had, and I think President Goyle covered pretty much everything on there.
All right. Yeah, it was short because I wasn't running the meeting.
That wasn't intended to just.
I had to make
Who's
this.
the LAVMA chair now?
Livermore?
Yeah.
And that was like a pop quiz. I might have to get back to you on the name. Pretty sure I could look it up. But with that, unless you want to know it right now,
Maybe
is.
Maybe it's time we get our Livermore liaison working again so we know who the council members are.
Well, so if it helps, their website's still not updated. It still
Oh.
shows me as president, but I believe it's gone to Livermore Evan Branning, who was the prior board director. Or actually, no, Steve Dunbar. Sorry. It would have been Steve Dunbar, who was the vice chair. So, and then I believe Pleasanton would be the vice chair now. Did I get that right?
We'd have to check as well.
I don't.
All right.
Okay. Well,
Did I get it wrong?
I thought it was someone else who's the new president, and yeah, you're right. Pleasanton, Livermore is, but I thought it was the other gentleman. And
All right. With that, let's not solve
Yeah.
it here. stay tuned for an update to their website, and that will be the accurate by vote. And it was done, I believe, in May. So at this time, we'll move on to item 9A2. Submittal of written reports of days of service attended by directors. I thought you attended a committee report and you wanted to report out. So 9A2, I'll go to Director Von Heater Leopold.
I thought you were going to bypass me.
Never would do that. Although right now there is a gap.
Yeah, I can throw things. Well, as you all know, I attended the CSDA annual conference in Monterey, and it kicked off on Monday night with a reception. But the first thing was the keynote speaker on Tuesday morning, Joe Theismann. And I was fortunate enough to get a picture with him as well as an autograph. He was a very good speaker. Obviously, coming from what he came from, he knows how to fight back. I have a couple of quotes I'd like to share with you. One of his was, "How do you define success? Success is when you reach a point in your life where you can give back. Don't do things because you think it matters to them. The important thing is that it matters to you. Don't ever let people tell you you can't do something." But it was really exciting. The first session I went to after that was the evolution of LAFCO and why it matters. LAFCO allowed special districts when the state changed the law in 1981. Of the 58 counties, all of them have LAFCOs, but only 32 have special district members, which is kind of sad. They've tried for a long time, but there are many counties who don't feel it's necessary. Let's see. I took 12 pages of notes, if you can imagine, and I'm not a good note taker, but it really was a good conference. The second session I went to was on the campfire in Paradise. Quite an eye-opener. I knew it was terrible, but I didn't know by how much. They have 11,800 miles of pipe in 1,400 acres. The fire district is the entire city of Paradise. Their spheres of influence, their actually district boundaries are what's the word? With the city. So they have the same boundaries. 90% of homes went. 95% of the Paradise Irrigation District lost revenue. They lost 95% of their revenue. 85 fatalities, 18,800 structures destroyed. One of the things that was interesting, I kind of was hoping we'd have some staff here, is they had to flush, first of all, every single lateral was destroyed. So that had to be replaced. And then they had to flush the pipes for 2.5 years to get clean water. There was so much in the pipes, the ash and all of that. They had 10,000 customers before the fire. They have 5,600 today. So they're struggling. They had to completely shut down all the house water. They are providing water, bottled water to the residents. The next thing I went to was a session on governance, which was an interesting session because the guy who taught it apparently has some misunderstandings of state law. It was really interesting. I directly asked him about our current situation for replacing Anne Marie, and he gave me a wrong answer, which Doug has certified as being wrong. So he tried to send me the slides because I'm sure Doug would like to discuss this with him. Oh, no, okay. He's not an attorney. He was sending me the slides, but he was having trouble getting them out. I don't know, something's wrong with his internet. So they're coming. But that was an interesting meeting to be at. He had a lot of uh, black and white answers to what to do when you replace a board member and all the things that our staff laid out here. One of his comments, though, was good. Government exists in order to translate wishes of the owners into organizational performance. I like that one. And then the last one is government is a trust, and the officers of the government are the trustees. Both trusts and trustees are created for the benefit of the people. That came from Henry Clay in 1828. I know you guys are like glassy eyed. It was really the second speaker that spoke at lunch when was it lunch? Yeah, when we got our certificates was he was an interesting fellow. He was kind of a comedian, but he kept bringing it home as to what things we needed to do to be a better district. And he was very complimentary about districts to start with, but then he brought it home in terms of, okay, every member has to be committed and things that we've all heard from the motivational speakers, but it's still nice to hear it in sort of a comedic way. So that's all.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I did find that information. If I could just,
I was going to clarify.
oh, you, okay.
Let's come to that after
Okay,
this item.
sure.
Do you have any
Nope.
attendance? Okay. So going back to 9A1, looking at the Joint Powers Authority, there was a question about the chair and the vice chair. This action was in May, and per the meeting minutes, if I recall correctly, we did do something a little different. And so the chair is from Pleasanton, Nibert, and the vice chair is from Livermore, Dunbar.
Yep.
And I think it
That's
had
correct.
to do with tenure in the council and then how they would take the seat. So there was a protocol switch there. So that's why my confusion.
Sort of like addressing our what's it called? Policy.
Well,
Our
you don't
policy
want
with-
somebody.
You had to be so long on the board before you could be a president.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I believe that was the situation. So, with that, we'll move on to 9A3, request for new agenda items to be placed on future board or committee agenda.
I don't have an item, but I have a comment. For those of you that don't know, today is California's 175th birthday. We were admitted into the Union September 9th, 1850,
Wow.
Just a few years ago.
just a few years ago.
All right.
Today is also my mom's birthday, so
Not from 1850 though.
no, not 18.
Just checking. I was like, whoa, okay.
1909, though, it was 999 is when she, so
Okay.
9 was always her number.
Wow.
There you go. All right. Anybody for a new item? All right. With that, we'll move on to item 9B, staff report.
Next DURA meeting is Monday, September 22nd, and our newly appointed alternate, Director Govinda Rao, will be representing the district. Water Reuse Conference coming up September 21st through 23rd, and President Goel and Vice President Halkett will be attending, and then WEFTEC Conference from September 29th through October 1st, and President Goel will be attending. I also wanted to put in a plug for the Tri-Valley Mayor's Summit, which is coming up on October 15th from 11:30 to 1:30 at Ruby Hill Winery. And if the board, if you plan to attend, if you could let staff know as soon as possible, because we're trying to figure out the seating.
Okay.
And you can ping me or, okay, thank you.
You got your 2 at least. All right. With that, we'll move on to item 10, adjournment. The meeting is hereby adjourned at 6:44 p.m. Have a great evening.